Another joint practice, Bears and Bills. Mitch Trubisky returns to Halas Hall, and a good conversation with him. Caleb Williams, did he look good or bad? There seems to be some debate. We're going to break it all down for you. CHGO Bears starts right now. Welcome in to CHGO Bears Podcast. Another joint practice today. Bears and Bills in Lake Forest. And we were both there. Adam Hoge, Greg Braggs with you. Carm's still on vacation. Another one of our friends, Matt Verderam, was there today and let Carm have it plenty. As he deserved it. Good to see a lot of good people out there today at practice. It was a fun one. Greg, how you doing?
Doing great. It was a fun day with the Bills in town, and it's also a sad day because it's the last open practice. It's like sad, but it's also exciting because that means the season is close. We got 2 games in 7 days here now coming up, preseason games, and then it's on to week 1. So ready or not, Chicago Bears, here it comes. But yes, for open practices for fans, training camp has concluded, but I thought it finished on a pretty good note. You know, it wasn't perfect today, and we'll get into it, but I thought they played pretty well against a Super Bowl contender. And if you base it off of how they played last week against the Dolphins, I thought it was a step in the right direction.
And CHGO training camp coverage is powered by Circus Sports Illinois. Download your new bookie today at circusports.com. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. All right, as we like to do, we jump in with our best and worst of the day. Anything we saw, anything we heard, that could be really anything. Then we'll talk about what mattered most from the day as well. I will begin, and my best is sort of a not necessarily just narrowed into today, but it's the fact that Caleb Williams is having a good week. From my calculations and how I've been tracking his throws, I have him over 80% once you factor in drops and defensive penalties and throwaways and all that type of stuff over these last 3 practices, which is a very significant step in the right direction because, as Ben Johnson acknowledged, and we'll hear from him here in a second, before practice today, Caleb Williams has been below that 70% mark really since camp began. And I don't know, I think it'd actually be unrealistic to think that he's going to end up above it when it's all said and done. But these last 3 days, we've seen like Wednesday was good. Yesterday was pretty good. I mean, not great, but good. And then here's a third day in a row that I would describe very similarly. Good, not great, because there were some missed opportunities, and we're going to talk about those in a second. But I do think that overall this week has been a trend in the right direction. And when I say this week, starting Wednesday, because Monday's practice was just not good. It was not accurate. There were a lot of issues. I don't think they went into the off day on Tuesday feeling really good about things offensively. And so I think these last 3 days have been better. And better is better. That's good.
Anybody that makes fun of you about the charting percentages, if you watch the 1920 football drive, which featured our very own Adam Hoge to start that 1920 football drive that the Bears put out last night, there was a point, I don't know if you caught it, Hoge, that Cole Kmet after a series was like, hey, our percentages were good there, right? He was talking to one of the coaches. So they're all monitoring this.
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm generally in agreement that keeping track of training camp stats is a little overboard. I think when it comes to quarterback, tracking accuracy is different, and we know the Bears are doing this. They are updating the quarterbacks every single day on their performance. They're well aware of their percentages. Ben even said this morning, I have a sheet in front of me at my desk. I just don't have it in front of me right now.
He didn't want to reveal it. He didn't want to reveal it this morning to Finley.
He didn't, but he still kind of was pretty obvious about or honest about where things have been. So, it's funny that a training camp season started with JJ Watt going on a rant about training camp statistics, which I generally agree with, by the way. But this is different, and this is the one thing statistically that we've been tracking throughout camp. So I think it's cool. My worst is I'm at the point where I'm worried about Braxton Jones. I think we're at this juncture where everybody's just sort of assuming because he's got the experience that he's going to end up being the guy week one, and maybe that ends up being true, but he does not look good right now. So kind of the opposite. If we're going to use Tuesday's off day as a barometer or sort of a wake up point, I would say that Caleb trending upward since the off day. Braxton Jones, which started with Wednesday morning, us talking to Dan Roshar, the offensive line coach, and him basically saying, yeah, it looked good against the Dolphins in practice Friday. And then he reverted to whatever that was on Sunday against the Dolphins. For him to respond these last couple days, and it's just not good enough. I'm just sorry. It's just not good enough. Whether it's a fair excuse with the leg or struggling to anchor or whatever it is right now, it's not where it needs to be able to block Jonathan Gennard in week one on Monday Night Football. So I'm fascinated, Greg, who's starting Sunday night against the Bills, because they're putting their starters out there, and whoever they decide to start in front of Caleb Williams, that's at least a tell on where they feel like things should be after this week of practice. And if Ben Johnson is going to back up what he said earlier in the week, which is guys are going to compete every week for playing time on Sunday, I don't think Braxton Jones should be the starter Sunday night against the Bills. I realize it's just a preseason game, but if that's your criteria to determine playing time, I don't think Theo Benedict's been locked down solid all week, but he's been the better left tackle.
Well, I mean, I guess right now, I mean, who got more reps at left tackle today, first team? It was Theo Benedict. I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but just based off of the amount of series we watched take place, I thought Theo Benedict got a lot more reps at first team left tackle than Braxton Jones today. Maybe you have the exact numbers in front of you.
I don't have the exact numbers, but what I can tell you is team period number 1, Theo Benedict went first. And then team period number 2, Braxton went to left tackle. Team period number 3, Theo was at left tackle. And then the last team period they split. So I actually think it was more even than maybe it seemed like in the moment. But right, so 1, yeah. No, I guess that would give the edge to Theo.
It felt like it. And my only point to all that is, okay, it felt like Theo had more reps at left tackle than Braxton today. And then the reps that Braxton did get at left tackle today were abysmal. And so, like, we've talked about this here the last few days. I'm not rooting against Braxton Jones. I'd love nothing more for him to just take the job, and we have 5 veterans across that offensive line. I'll admit that I don't have much confidence in him, and this dates back to the last few years, even though he's very serviceable. And I think by me saying this, it makes it feel like I'm overstating his flaws and underselling his value that he's brought to the team last few years. I'm not, but yeah, I'm looking for an upgrade. And, now that he's dealing with an injury, it just compounds this problem. We all know he already has not a great anchor. He lets people get around him with ease. And now you add in this injury. It's just such a concern. The whole Ozzy Trapillo thing just continues to make me scratch my head. I understand he's a rookie. It is what it is. Theo Benedict seems like he's pushing to take that starter job, which is shocking, I think, to all of us. I don't recall anyone predicting that going into this. Or maybe it ends up being Darnell Wright at left tackle and Ozzy Trapillo at right tackle by the middle of the season. Who knows? I mean, that's kind of where this is going at this point. All bets are off. But let's get to my best and worst here real quick, because my best today, I couldn't pick between Rome Odunze and Olamide Zaccheaus, so they both get it. We've seen this. This has been a consistent theme throughout camp. Is Caleb Williams finding his connection with both these guys? Rome making all sorts of different types of catches, from jump balls to, acrobatic. If the throw wasn't perfect, he's always coming down with it. You said it the other day. He just seems to come down with everything. Even today on an incomplete pass to the sidelines where he gets pushed out of bounds, it was an incredible catch. Doesn't get his feet in because the defender did a nice job of throwing him out of bounds, but he still caught it. It's like this guy's just catching everything out there. And Olamide Zaccheaus, I think when we try to identify who the security blanket for Caleb Williams is going to be, I do think it's Ozzy. We'll see how the tight end, disparity from snaps and targets goes. But I know for a fact that Caleb is looking Olamide Zaccheaus' way early and often. I think both of them have just had a standout camp. And so it's just been really impressive to watch those guys go to work every single day. My worst, was going to be Braxton Jones. But instead of piling on Braxton Jones, I will talk about the 7 false starts they had today. The other day they had 6, and now today they had 7. 4 on the first team, 2 by Darnell Wright, 1 by Jonah Jackson. For those of you like, well, who are the others on? Well, they don't always announce. It's not like it's on TV where they're like false start, number 73 on you don't always know who got the false start unless it's like very clear and visible. And it isn't always. So, but there was 4 on the first team. So this just continues to be a mess. I don't know really where to place the blame when it comes to false starts. Is that on the offensive line? Because from an operations standpoint, it felt like they were getting to the line of scrimmage. It felt like they were getting organized and calling their motion and pre-snap stuff. And then all of a sudden, one of the offensive line would take an early step. So is that cadence by Caleb Williams, or is that the offensive lineman, getting happy feet because the defensive line was, pressuring them at the line of scrimmage? I don't know. All I know is they still had, if delay of games have kind of gone away here in the last week since, last Friday or whatever you want to say, last Family Fest, and the botched snaps have gone away since the first week and a half of practice. Now all of a sudden false starts are rearing their ugly head. So I don't really know where to place the blame on these. All I know is they got to get it cleaned up.
Yeah, I mean, look, we were having a debate in the media room because I don't know if it was 7, I don't know if it was 6, I don't know if it was 5, but the numbers were all over the place. I also had 4 for the that I guess if I'm going to just throw in a silver lining, they got the Bills to jump off sides twice today. And I don't know if we've seen the Bears defense jump off sides once in camp. I'm sure that's been like once or twice, but maybe they're getting somewhere with the cadence where it's actually having the opposite effect on the defense. But yeah, in general, totally agree that's the false starts. They're still working through some things, the pre-snap. And so here's where I want to get with specifically mention how the false starts seem to be derailing any progress that's been coming. Because I thought going into the third team period today, which was a 2-minute period, it was fourth quarter. Bears are down 27-21 with a little bit over a minute left on the clock in the fourth quarter. So this is a touchdown, got to have a drive. I thought at that point in practice, Caleb Williams was having his best practice at camp. In fact, Adam Johns showed up to our side because he was elsewhere. He came over, and I said to him, I'm like, Caleb's having his best practice in camp right now. So it's Adam Johns' fault that it all went downhill from there. No, it was whoever false started, and I think this was the Darnell Wright one because there was different. Yeah, I think this was the Darnell Wright one. So it starts with the scramble for a gain, pass to Cole Kmet complete, pass to Olamide Zaccheaus complete, and another one to Ozzy complete. So they march down to the 11-yard line against the Buffalo damn Bills, number 1 defense, pretty easily. And they have plenty of time on the clock. I think Ben even called timeout there. So you're sitting at the 11-yard line, over 30 seconds left on the clock, plenty of shots to the end zone. Really good shape. False start.
1st and 15.
1st and 15, back to the 16. Now the first down marker is at the 1, which is like, chances are you're going to get that first down. No, you got to go to the end zone. Now you're 1st and 16, essentially. Got to get to the end zone now with no timeouts left. It was a killer. And even then, though, Caleb made a nice throw to Rome Odunze. It's the play you brought up earlier, which I'm going to give a lot of credit to Christian Benford because it was a good throw. It was a good catch by Rome Odunze, and Christian Benford just lifted Rome off the ground and took him out of bounds before his feet could land in bounds. It was
He carried
nobody's
him.
fault.
He
It was just a
carried him out of
great
bounds.
play.
Yeah.
It was a great play.
And Rome got up so high on that catch. It was impressive.
But I don't think it was a bad throw. I think that's where he had to put it to catch it.
Mhm.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was high. But next one, though, what I would call a glance route from Colston Loveland right to the end zone line. Timing seemed to be pretty damn good there. It's really good coverage by the linebacker on him. Draped all over him. And the ball is just a little too high with that coverage for Colston Loveland with the zip on it too to realistically be able to make the catch. I would not call that one a drop because the coverage was so tight. But if Caleb had gotten it here on the chest instead of up here over the head, that's a touchdown. He would have fit it in there. And so I guess my point of bringing all this up is I just thought that whole sequence was a good snapshot of what's holding this offense back right now. You're making a lot of progress. Things are looking good. These damn false starts, these pre-snap penalties, they're killing them. And then even then, Caleb, we know, has the talent. But then here's a high throw just by a little bit, and it's that close. But that's the NFL. The margin of error, there is no margin of error. There really isn't. You have to be on point. And it's just that's what's been so frustrating. The next play, of course, after that's a sack. The whole thing's and even then, Roma Dunze almost had a chance. It was basically a Hail Mary on 4th down to catch it. But again, Benford broke it up. So, you know what? I thought it was the Bills are a better team than the Bears. We know that. The Bears still showed some good stuff today overall that they belong. So we're going to talk more about that. We got Ben Johnson's comments coming up as well from before practice. I want to get a little bit more in depth on the state of this left tackle situation and plenty more observations from today's busy joint practice. And we had a chance to talk to Mitch Trubisky too afterwards, which I wasn't sure if how much we were going to want from that or play. It's actually pretty damn good. So I want you guys to hear it. We'll bring that up later in the show. But first, we take our first time out. Hey, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use the code CHGO365, deposit just $10, place a bet for $5. You'll get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. And right now, baseball going on. They got the Bet365 early payout offer. You're a winner if your team goes up 5 runs at any point in the game with an instant payout on straight bets and parlay selections marked as winners. Breaking news from Bet365. New customers now get $150 in bonus bets when you bet $5, win or lose. Sign up, use that code CHGO365, deposit 10, place a bet for $5 to get $150 in bonus bets if your bet wins or loses. Bonus bets can be used on the spread, totals, player props, futures, and more. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Must be 21 plus. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, crisis counseling referral services can be accessed by calling 1-800-GAMBLER, in-app only.
That's right. And when you take those winnings, take them over to our friends at Arena Club. Looking to buy, sell, trade, or rip open a pack of cards? Well, Arena Club is changing the hobby with their transparent slab packs and no-fee auctions. You got to check out these slab packs, guys. Arena Club makes it easy to collect the cards you love. Get authentic, graded cards instantly on Arena Club. You decide, hold, sell, or have it shipped to you directly. With slab packs, you can rip a pack open for as low as $25 and hit on a card that's worth tens of thousands of dollars. Sounds pretty good right there, I'll tell you right now. And there are full transparency showing every card in the pack with the likelihood of pulling each one so you know exactly what's available before you buy. So right now you can get 20% off your first slab pack or card purchase by going to arenaclub.com/CHGO and make sure you use the code CHGO.
All right. We got a big money super chat coming out of the break. From Sliding Down the Gradient. I think that's a new super chatter. $100 says, I'm a recent diehard, wanted to say hi from the sunny Bay area. I fear the left tackle position will be the straw that breaks the Bears' back. Why are we still talking about offensive line this deep into the preseason? It's a great question. Thank you so much for that super chat and becoming a diehard. That's awesome. Well, I think that leads into what we were just about to bring you. The assessment from the head coach, Ben Johnson, on the left tackle, his update on where things stand before today's practice.
Yeah, hopefully some clarity. That's what we're looking for. This thing's gone on now 3.5 weeks, and I said, and I'll say it again, we'll go as long as we need to go to find the right guy, but we'd like to see someone go ahead and make it clear to us that he is that guy, and we just haven't seen that yet as a staff. There's been too much up and down, and so today's practice will be a huge thing, and so will Sunday's game in terms of getting some clarity there on that. We'd love to go ahead and solidify that spot and move forward from there. And it might be one of those things where when we make that decision, it's not final for the season. It could be we have to reassess after a couple of weeks of the season, or by the bye week we might have to reassess. So it might be something that goes on. Wouldn't be ideal, but that's the name of the league.
Okay, I know we do this almost every single day, but thank you, Ben Johnson. It's not, nobody wants to hear that, but he doesn't want to say that either. That's just the honest state of where they're at right now, 3.5 weeks into it. And we don't need to sit up here and lie that everything's good and then go out there and watch Braxton Jones get his ass kicked by Gregory Rousseau today. Okay, so I thought that was, and by the way, that's notable because he said today's practice will be huge. Didn't go great. We're coming out of practice saying Braxton Jones was our worst of the day. That's not good for Braxton Jones if there was that much weight put on this practice today. Hearing that it might go into the regular season, not ideal either, but also probably where this thing's headed because nobody's stepped up. I know you want to talk about Ozzy Trapillo, and I want to talk about Ozzy Trapillo too here, Greg, because it is interesting that what seems like a critical week, unless I've missed something, Ozzy has taken 0 snaps at left tackle this week. They have moved him back to right where he played at college. I don't know if this is a 1-week thing so he can get those reps that he needs just to bank for the season in case he needs to play there. I don't know if it's trying to push Dart out right, who really hasn't had an outstanding camp either. He's been fine, but not outstanding. So he was asked, Ben Johnson was asked about Ozzy. We don't have this clip, but I'm going to read you his quote. He said, it's really play speed. There are times where the feet have gotten a little bit slow at times, both in the run game and in pass pro. The mental of just speeding up, ball, snap, let's go ahead and get in a good physical position here to block the man in front of me. It's been a little bit of up and down. And that's what Dan Roshar said the other day too. When he's getting in position and being more actionary, Trapillo's look good. When he's on his heels more, not in the right spot, and more reactionary, it hasn't been good enough. And then Ben acknowledged, I think it was a little bit later on, that Ozzy, it just seems like he goes back to his more natural spot on the right side and all that speeds up. So I know that's not what people, the Ozzy Trapillo agenda wants to hear, but I still wonder though, despite all that, Greg, if they have moved on from Ozzy at left tackle too soon.
Yeah, I mean, you spent all summer trying it. And I know Braxton was hurt, so some will say, well, why not? Well, I don't know. It just doesn't feel like, it just feels like a long process to all of a sudden rip the cord here 3 days ago. And that's essentially what's happened here. And to me, if you're saying he's up and down, that means he's had some ups, right? And if Braxton is up and down, I've seen more downs than ups. And one's a rookie and the other is a vet. So, I'd like to think that the rookie is going to continue to learn. And then on top of it, all I hear from everybody in that building is how smart Ozzy Trapillo is. Well, okay, there's going to be some bumps in the road, but let him figure it out. I mean, I guess Theo Benedict has just been so impressive to them that they're like, okay, let's, move off of the 2nd round pick. Let him be a backup right tackle to Darnell Wright. I know Darnell's had some injuries in the past, so it's not a bad thing to have a 2nd round pick as your backup right tackle and swing tackle potentially. But I just am left scratching my head on this because I mean, obviously it's the agenda that I've been pushing, but I just think it would have been their best route. And all 3 or 4 routes now that we're dealing with, they all have flaws to them. So I guess I got to just give Theo Benedict a better look. I have to give him a better shot at taking this. I was not expecting those words to come out of my mouth until 3 days ago.
Well, right. And it's nothing against Dale Benedict, because it actually is an outstanding story if he ends up taking that spot and running with it. A Canadian who went undrafted a year ago and then got hurt and didn't play as a rookie too. I mean, it's a phenomenal story. So if that's the way it works out, great. But nobody, including the Bears, anybody in the Bears organization, thought that's where everything would be right now on August 15th. And it's a little concerning. And I wrote this, by the way, our practice report, Pat Norton, Adam Johns, and I all worked on it after practice today. It's up for our diehards at allchgo.com. I put this, I'll give you a little snippet from it. You've used top 75 draft capital the last 2 years trying to figure out to give you left tackle options. And so if you get to week 1 and Karan Amagashi and Ozzy Trapillo aren't starting, that's not great. And I would also throw in, go back 3 years, you used a top 10 pick on the right tackle, who is a starter, but can he go from starter you win with to starter you win because of? Because he better damn well be one of those guys at number 10.
Right.
Especially when you passed on Jalen Carter. So that's what I'm struggling with here, and I'm a little bit alarmed with. I am really happy with the additions they made inside, because if they hadn't done that, this offensive line would be all we're talking about right now. And it's still concerning here halfway through August that this left tackle, Greg, we're at the point where if I'm Ryan Poles, I am starting to look at other rosters. I am looking at trades. I am looking at who the hell's going to be cut. Is this going to be I know Josh Sitton was a different position, but do you have a surprise cut that comes that you can sign? Is this a call Jason Peters on his fishing boat situation and see if you can lull him out of off that river one more time? It's crazy that they're here again.
Yeah, I agree. It's Sunday's going to be really interesting. If Theo Benedict is your starting left tackle for the first team series, and however many Caleb in the offense gets, that pretty much tells you. And honestly, based off of what we saw today, and if you go back to last Friday, then Sunday's preseason game, then Dan Rochar's comments calling out Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright, and then these last few practices, just based off of the way Ben Johnson says they're going to coach this team and how they're going to earn their opportunities, like you said earlier, then that mathematical equation leads you to Theo Benedict being your starting left tackle Sunday night against the Bills. And that's insane.
I think he's earned it, but I also don't think he's been outstanding either at the same time. So did you notice too the little exasperated chuckle at the start of that answer from Ben Johnson?
Yeah.
He was just sort of like almost rolling his eyes. I mean, you could tell that they're frustrated right now.
Well, that's the only silver lining of all this, and I think you pointed this out the other day. Yes, this is a bad thing, but they're not forcing this. They're saying, okay, this isn't ideal. We wanted our answer a week ago or 2 weeks ago, but we don't have it. And if we have to do this every week going into week 5 of the regular season, we will. And that just shows you a coaching staff that is saying, hey, we're not giving this to anyone. They have to earn it. And that part of it's good. They're trying to create this competition and push these guys, say, this is the standard. None of you are meeting it. And this is how we're going to operate until somebody does. And maybe you're right. Maybe they do end up bringing somebody ultimately off the street. But that is the one silver lining is, however this goes, I don't think Ben Johnson is just going to let it sink the way Craig Counsell with the Cubs, if you're a Cubs fan, he's just watching this lineup sink and he's not making changes to the lineup. And sometimes, you're just rearranging chairs on the Titanic, and maybe that's what it is, but you got to try something. And so I have faith that this coaching staff isn't just going to let it be a problem every week without trying to do something.
Did the Cubs lose again today?
Yeah, they were going to be my worst to start the show. They are abysmal.
Isn't it your fault because you weren't at the 120 club today?
It is not my fault. It is their fault. They are lifeless and pathetic, and I'm not speaking of them ever again.
Wow.
I'm mad.
I don't believe you, but okay. We'll take our next time out. Got more from Ben Johnson.
Still got
Some really good
wild card.
You guys are like in the playoffs still. It's so funny to me.
Okay.
Ben Johnson. Well, great stuff on Caleb Williams before practice. We'll bring that to you coming up next. But first, new vehicles are in store at Ray Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. This is your chance to score a great deal at the Labor Day sales event. Head to Ray CDJR on Route 12 today to choose from their huge inventory of new Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram vehicles. Right now, get up to $15,000 off MSRP or get 0% financing for 72 months on the new 2025 Jeep Wagoneer S. It's a great car. Plus, shop over 125 vehicles priced under $20,000. Team at Ray CDJR is here to help you during each step of your car shopping journey. And with a raised price promise, you can shop confidently with no add-ons or hidden fees ever. The price you see is the price you pay. Don't miss out on the Labor Day sales event for huge savings on the Jeep Wagoneer S. Do what I did. Go check out Ray CDJR today on Route 12 in Fox Lake or online at raycdjr.com. They've been serving the community since 1963.
That's right. And got to give a shout out to our friends over at Monarch Money. Feel organized and confident in your finances with Monarch Money, an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean interface on your laptop or your phone. And right now, just for our listeners, Monarch is offering 50% off your first year. Monarch does the heavy lifting. Link all of your accounts in minutes and get clear data visuals, smart categorization of your spending, and real control over your money. Don't leave money on the table. When you're making good money, it's easy to get complacent. And I'll tell you right now, don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use the code CHGO at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with the code CHGO. Don't leave that money on the table. Monarch Money.
All right. Before we get to some more on Ben Johnson talking about Caleb, there was a moment in practice that I want to discuss because our friend Matt Verderam, who was a little critical of Caleb today, I've already seen that on Twitter. I talked to him about it myself, actually, when practice was over as we were waiting on the Bills players. But so there was a moment in that 2-minute drill where clock's running down. So it was the sack right before fourth down where he sacked, plays over. This was the play where I think Greg Rousseau, that might have been later. Whatever.
Nope,
Doesn't matter.
It was the 2-minute drill.
Yeah. Okay. So Greg Rousseau goes right through Braxton Jones. Basically, Jones gets pushed into Caleb. Sack, if I remember that right. Regardless, Joey Bosa comes in and gives Caleb a little extra shove clearly after the whistle. Some other cute, not to go down the whole Justin Fields era again, but like some quarterbacks should probably get draw a penalty there. Couple people in the media area, including Matt Verderam, I think Alex Shapiro pointed this out too, took note that nobody came to Caleb's defense in that spot, which that has been something that's bothered me a lot in the past. And it happened with Justin Fields. I feel like it went back to Mitch Trubisky too. And it's annoying. That being said, they had no timeouts, clock's running out. It's a sack on third down. They have to get, and honestly, if there had been any pushing or shoving there, they would not have gotten the playoff because they barely did as it was. And it was like a Hail Mary to the end zone. So it's like, do you give them credit for staying on task there? It's the end of the game situation. It's fourth quarter. They have to get a touchdown. You probably praise them, I think, over getting mad at them hitting the quarterback. I guess I would have liked to see at least somebody get in there a little bit, or once the fourth down play happens, then you address it. So I'm still sort of bothered that it wasn't addressed at all, if that makes sense. But I also want to give them credit for hustling the line and getting that fourth down play out, because if any kind of melee had broke out in there, then there wouldn't have been a 4th down.
Correct. I love Matt Verderame, and he's been to a lot of training camps this year, I'm sure, and seen some different things. That was it was a shove, but it was not that hard of a shove. It was like, just kind of let him know. Now, Ben Johnson said a week ago, if there was fights, these players know there will be consequences. They're running a 2-minute drill. What's more important there in that moment? If they had thrown Caleb Williams down after the whistle or grabbed him by the helmet or tackled him, forget the 2-minute drill. Let's start a melee. I'll jump on the field. But outside of that, they don't need to be fighting over a tiny little shove. They need to try to execute in the red zone. And at that point, they were struggling in the red zone. And so to try to get the 2-minute drill finished on a good note, which they weren't able to do, I give them credit for not reacting to it, get to the line of scrimmage. They barely got the playoff with 1 second on the clock, but they did get lined up and there was no false start. And then then there was just, Caleb running for his life and he just heaves one up for, almost a Hail Mary jump ball attempt for Rome Odunze that he did almost come down with. There was another point too earlier in the practice where Luther Burden got a little extra sauce after a catch and he didn't react either. He just, go ahead.
Actually, I was impressed with that.
100%.
I actually found that to be a great moment for Luther Burden because there have been some very understandable Jameson Williams comparisons made, just in terms of, having to have him coached up and in the right spot with all the talent he has. We've seen in Chicago when they play the Lions that Tyreek Stevenson can get under Jameson Williams' skin and cause problems. The fact that he just took that, and that was as close to, let's file this out to Omar Kelly. That's as close to an actual cheap shot as we've actually seen the last couple weeks, as late of a hit as that was. But I was fine with it. I didn't have an issue with it. And I appreciated that Luther Burden just sort of took it. He got up, he chirped a little bit walking back, but he didn't push himself or anything or getting that was actually a sign of maturity for me. For Luther Burden. Now, all that being said, Greg, I mostly agree with you. I also think that these players are smart enough to know the difference between a 2-minute drill in practice and a 2-minute drill in an actual game. And I'm talking out of both sides of my mouth a little bit here because you want to practice how you play on Sunday. But I also understand Matt Verderame's point that if that had been Josh Allen getting a little shot late or Patrick Mahomes or one of these quarterbacks that's been with their guys for a long, long time, which Caleb hasn't necessarily been. So he's not that guy. He hasn't earned that yet. You would have seen a lot of teams around the league, probably the Lions too, I would guess, just start an all-out brawl there because it was not the worst shot of all time, but it was still a shot at a quarterback who's not supposed to be touched. And it does leave me a lit. I wonder if it still gets addressed in a team meeting that, hey, credit to you guys for not doing this, but I want to see you have your quarterbacks back at the same time.
Okay. If you want to do it after the 4th down play, fine. But as we highlighted earlier, that 2-minute drill got sloppy real fast. They were off to a good start. Then all of a sudden a false start sets them back 1st and 15. Then there's a couple incomplete passes, a high throw, then a sack. Now you want them to get in a fight after the sack. On the other side of the field, I see Patrick Norton here in the chat saying, I think backing up the QB is more important in a joint practice. You can work on the 2-minute in the game on Sunday. But he also reported at the exact same time on the 2-minute drill on the other side of the field, Tyreek Stevenson, this is Patrick Norton's reporting as he was closer to the defensive side of the field, 2-minute drill, Tyreek Stevenson picks up a 15-yard penalty after a post-play slap fight with Joshua Palmer, sets up a Josh Allen touchdown pass 2 plays later to Keon Coleman. Bears secondary got lost in the handing off of assignment. So essentially what some of us are wanting here is 2 penalties going on both sides of the field by both sides of our defense, that resulting in bad things happening for the Bears afterwards. And I'm sorry that the punishment wouldn't have fit the crime. It was a little shove. Let's show a little maturity, get to the line of scrimmage and try to score a touchdown on them. You want to fight after the 4th down play? I'm all for it. But the simulation is that you're in a 2-minute drill. You got to get to the line of scrimmage. So they showed discipline, in my opinion.
Yeah. I get it. I just say, I think this is something to file away. Hopefully we're not talking about this in the regular season. There's going to come a time, probably in the first few weeks of the season, where Caleb gets hit the wrong way. And I just, if nobody comes to his defense, I think we'll circle back to this moment. If they do, then we'll be like, cool. Then they handle it. The discipline was correct. I would have liked to at least seen something said after the 4th down play. And I also think that what Pat Norton's bringing up on that other field, and we saw other instances of this in practice today, is kind of what I'm talking about, where, yeah, we want this to all be like a game. These joint practices, the rules are a little different, man. If you watch that special teams period where the Bills are vicing up the Bears gunners, that means 2-on-1 on the outside. You had everybody on the field into it, and stuff was going way over the line during that period.
Way over the line, he says, as he mutes his mic and coughs. It was just like a dramatic pause for the audio listeners.
Thanks for picking me up there, buddy. Just full silence.
I didn't know what you're doing. Yeah, I did all my talking earlier on Twitter, so the floor is yours.
All right. Let's play Ben Johnson. He was updating Caleb Williams' percentages. Since Greg won't pick me up, I know the head coach will. Emma, let's roll the tape.
I don't have the exact number, but we've been underneath that bar, which that happens. We're learning, we're growing. I think early on we were probably 55. It's gotten better as camp has gone on, but we haven't hit that threshold as often as we would like.
Do you have a ballpark of what it's been lately?
I know I have the numbers on my desk, but I have not looked at it, so I gotta take a look at that.
So there's your little mid-camp or past halfway point update on Caleb's percentages, not at the 70% mark. He was asked about Caleb's accuracy issues, though. I thought this was a great breakdown and explanation of what's worrisome and what's not.
Yeah, in my opinion, it always starts with the feet. It doesn't matter what level you're at, but it always starts with the feet for a quarterback. And if you're not aligned properly from the ground up, then you're going to have inconsistencies with your target. So that's what we've been talking about, and specifically for all right-handed quarterbacks, when you throw to a target that's moving from the right to the left, you typically throw it behind. And so you have to train yourself to make sure you're opened up enough to throw him to where he's going to be and not where he's at. And so that's something we talked about going into the summer break, and something we still harp on. You can't get enough of that. It takes a long time to develop habits. And so, that's the starting point. I think he's got a beautiful throwing motion. I mean, that was ingrained into him at a young age, and I think that still shows up. So there's nothing mechanically wrong, but it's just all about the alignment and getting out in front of the target.
Good answer. And I like how he gave something specific without having to be asked for it, too, to have it pulled out of him, especially when the receiver's coming right to left across your face. It's the natural thing is to be behind. Yes, that makes sense. It's like geometry with the angles of a throw. So you got to get your feet moving that direction so you can change that angle and make it more of a straight line throw. It's very simple stuff for people to understand, but it's hard to execute, especially when you got all these big, giant, angry men running at you.
Well, and not only that, it's hard to execute when you're trying to transition Caleb from a shotgun passer predominantly to a under center play action quarterback. And you saw this footwork example today where they ran under center play action, roll out to the left, and he kind of rolled into a little bit of pressure. So he really wasn't able to get comfortable in the way he set his feet. And then he just ducked a throw to the tight. I believe it was the tight end up the seam. It wasn't even close. It almost looked like a throwaway. The throw was so bad. And that was simply just because he couldn't get set. And so when you talk about, some of the deep ball inaccuracies last year and some of the different, inaccurate throws that he had, and there certainly was many, we're talking about a guy that was facing the defense. Now you're adding in this layer of having your back turned to the defense, coming out of play action and under center. It's a lot of different footwork that he's going to have to continue to work on. I think the one thing I always thought he was pretty good at was climbing the pocket and sliding left to right, but a lot of that was out of shotgun. Now you're getting under center, play action, turn around, going through your progressions and still sliding. And now setting your feet the way they need to based off what progression read you're throwing to. So it's a lot. It's a lot, and that's why all of this hasn't exactly been in sync here and might not for, a good portion of the start of the season.
Well, it's interesting how the storylines at Halas Hall tend to line up sometimes. So while Caleb Williams was doing that on one field, you had Josh Allen and another quarterback by the name of Mitch Trubisky, now wearing number 11 for the Buffalo Bills, on the other field, a field he has practiced on many times before. And at one time, though, was going into his second year in the NFL with the Chicago Bears and had a great season. 2018, the last time we had something to celebrate with the Chicago Bears, an actual good season. Mitch Trubisky, we had a chance to talk to him, myself, a couple other Bears reporters, and then there were some Bills reporters mixed in there. A little scrum in the Walter Payton Center after practice today. This is a good chunk. It's almost like 6-7 minutes, but I think it's worth listening to his perspective on where things are in his career, how he looks back at Chicago mostly fondly. And that conversation started with him being asked about the 2018 season.
2018, it felt like we couldn't lose, and we just had a really good team, and it was one of the most fun years of football I had, and I'll always remember that, and all my teammates that we had that year. It was a great run and a lot of good memories from that season.
There haven't been a lot of guys ever walk the earth to be a first-round pick of the Bears to play quarterback. Yeah. They have another one now. What lessons did you learn about just the football
for sure?
Quarterback here?
Yeah, definitely. It is a fishbowl, but at the same time, I would say enjoy it. Really take it all in. I mean, I only had it for 4 years. I wish I had it longer, to be honest. So take it in, enjoy the process. All eyes are you in this city, but it's really a privilege, and there is a lot of pressure that comes with that. But it's a privilege, and I miss that. And it's a lot of fun to be the franchise guy, especially in a city like this. So it's I would just say have fun with it and enjoy the process.
Did you enjoy it in the moment, or is that something that comes just with getting older?
I think I did in the moment, but I think looking back on it, I wish I would have enjoyed it a little more. So not regret, but just I think perspective now that I'm older.
You know how hard it is to stay in this league for a long time, and to be back here and see that you're still going, you're still in this league. I mean, you're able to put that in perspective, what it means.
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting and scary at the same time. I mean, you get drafted here, and then in a blink of an eye, it's 9 years later, and I'm on a different team, and going into year 9, so life comes at you fast. But just trying to keep grinding it out, play as long as you possibly can, and just continue to try to be the best player I can possibly be in this league. And I love where I'm at right now. I got a great team and support system in Buffalo, and we're trying to have a great year this year. So it's crazy how it goes, but you just got to enjoy this ride when you can. It's a lot of fun.
Your last year here was a bit of a roller coaster. What are you most proud of with the way you handled everything, and then finished here, being the guy that helped get him into the playoffs?
Yeah, for sure. I think kind of just like you said, I was proud of the way I handled it. I mean, adversity is going to come at you in all types of different ways. There's always going to be situations you can't control. And the way I looked at it, I was like, you just got to control what you can. Your attitude and your effort, being a great teammate, going out there every day and putting your best foot forward, no matter what role you're in, whether you're the starter or the backup. It doesn't matter. It's awesome to be a part of something bigger than yourself. And I continue to be proud of the way I handle things. And I'm always trying to be the best teammate I possibly can, and always put my best foot forward. And you go out there and just give it your all. That's what I think.
In what ways are you different as a quarterback than you were back then?
I think I've just seen a lot more, had a lot more experience, and I have a lot of experience now, but I'm getting a different amount of reps being in the backup role now. So it's definitely different, but the best part of football is being part of a team and being able to be a part of a team that wins and is a great culture. So it's definitely different now, but I still have that competitive fire in me that wants to go out there and complete every pass and go out there and win. And the preseason is fun because nowadays that's where I'm getting a lot of my reps, and I'm trying to make those count and just continue to put good film out there. And trying to get back to where I was on the field. So just keep grinding, honestly.
Have you met Caleb before? I know you played last
just in passing, really. Just
what do you make
saying
of him
hi.
From afar?
It seems like he's got a bunch of arm talent, can use his legs, and I don't really know him that well, to be honest. So just hope he can do good things for the Bears.
What do you remember about the challenge of, after a rookie year, having to learn a whole new playbook, which unfortunately seems to be all too common in this league. But
Yeah.
what did you when you look back at that, what do you kind of take from that experience?
It's tough. I would think the number one thing that helps young quarterbacks is continuity, but at the same time, it's exciting, especially when you get like an offensive mind like Ben Johnson. I think that's exciting for a young quarterback. So you just got to embrace it. Obviously, learn as much as you can, and it is going to take some time to get through that learning curve of knowing the offense in the back of your hand, like getting all those reps down and speaking the verbiage. It does take some time, year one to year two, and you just gotta get the reps. Honestly, you just got to get the reps, continue to study, continue to be in the offense, and it's going to take some time. But it's exciting, but it is a challenge at the same time.
What's like the lasting impression on you being around Josh?
Just how he handles himself day to day, how he's an incredible teammate in person, one of my best friends, like off the field as well. Just being around him, he just makes everybody in our building better, and that's our quarterback room included. So when we're able to watch each other's film, compete with each other, push each other, and help each other on and off the field, you just become a better quarterback and player being around him and see how he sees the game, getting through progressions, extending plays with his feet, and then obviously you see the arm talent and the natural ability that all takes over. But he's really got all the tangibles as well that you want in a leader, teammate, and friend, to be honest.
You looked like you hit a little hook and ladder magic today.
Yeah, we did.
What's
Yeah.
that play like?
It was fun. It was a play we've been working on this offseason, so we just got to keep that in our back pocket. Hopefully we don't need to use it, but if it gets down to those situations, we like to keep that one hidden. So just keep that one in here, you know what I'm saying?
There aren't a ton of guys left from when you were here.
Two, Cole Kmet and Jalen Johnson. Yeah, my two buddies, yeah.
Cairo? Was Cairo?
Cairo was here as well, yeah, three.
And so who did you go say hi to today? Was it like Tony and like those guys?
Tony Medlin, Andre, John Tarpey, Pete Spizzeri, all my guys that were like the support system that they have here is incredible. I mean, they're such great people, and there's really what keeps this place together, to be honest. The support system, the people who have worked here for 10 plus years, they'll be longer. They've been here before the players got here, and they'll be here long after. So it's amazing to see old friends and all the athletic trainers that are still here. They got a really good support system here, and it's nice catching up with those guys.
See George McCaskey?
I did. I catch up with George as well, so it was cool talking with him as well. Yeah, wish him the best.
Is it different having training camp here than Bourbon Heights?
It is. It is. I wish we would have had more training camps here. They got a nice little setup, to be honest. I think those two fields just got back here in 2019 and 20, so I got to use it for 1 or 2 years, but it's a nice little setup, and it seems like they got enough room for the fans to come, and that's what you want during training camp, is put in a lot of good work, but also have some good fan interaction, I think.
What do you think you've learned since you left here about just handling the second chapter of your quarterback journey?
I mean, you never know how it's going to go in this league, and I think you just got to embrace every up and down and enjoy the process while you can. And I mean, my goal is just continue to be the best quarterback I can be, but also be the best husband, father, mentor, friend, really everything that life throws at you. I'm juggling more than just being a football player, you know, and I'm embracing that process of it, but I'm still enjoying and loving this game, and there's nothing else I'd rather be doing.
So say what you want about Mitch Trubisky, but boy, is he still a stand-up guy. And it was interesting hearing that perspective from him today, because I think he's both probably he's obviously very happy where he is in his career. He's got a family now. I can't believe 9 years has gone by. That's insane to me. Two, I don't think he necessarily misses the pressure. He used the word fishbowl, being the number one pick quarterback here in Chicago, which is totally understandable. But also, I think he also kind of misses it a little bit because he's a backup, and you hear from him, he's still got that fire in him, and probably wishes that he could play more than he has, since he left Chicago.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he had a winning record here in Chicago, made the playoffs twice. 2018 was a special year for the team, for Mitch, for Bears fans, for Club Dub. It was a really great time. So, obviously you hear a lot of maturity in his voice. He's been able to make a long career, albeit a backup one in Buffalo, playing behind Josh Allen. And, you always root for the guy. I mean, I'll always say, like, Jay was the most talented quarterback I've ever had in my lifetime, seen under center as Chicago Bears quarterback. But he never really took pride in being the leader or being the face of the franchise. And He could kind of take it or leave it with the fans. I can remember I remember seeing like a few years ago where he was complaining like, oh, I wish the fans would have treated me better. Oh, he could have treated the fans better too. And I was personal witness to him not treating the fans very well at Bourbonnais. And that's not his job. His job is to throw touchdowns. Same with Mitch. But you do appreciate the players that do kind of have the bigger picture perspective. Guys like Akeem Hicks and Tommy Harris and Devin Hester and Peanut Tillman and many other players that took the time and showed that appreciation to fans. And so I think for a lot of fans, though, even though he was picked over Patrick Mahomes in that draft, and that's something he'll always be known for nationally, I think a lot of fans will always appreciate, Mitch's time here in Chicago. And so, I'm happy that he's in a good place in Buffalo.
Yeah, and he's already had one opportunity to play against the Bears in the preseason at Soldier Field, and if I remember right, he played pretty damn well. So we'll see. He'll probably get a good amount of playing time Sunday. He said they don't know yet if the starters are going to play on their end. He wasn't sure how much playing time he was going to get in this game, and it also almost seems like, I don't know, I should have checked in with some of the Bills guys on this, but I'm not sure he's the clear-cut number 2 guy even, or if there's any type of competition there. So
he was the 3rd string today.
Wasn't he? Okay. That's what I thought.
So
they had Mike White is the
Mike,
backup.
yeah, not Scott White. Mike White, yeah.
Mike White and then Mitch. So yeah.
I guess I'll just also say, like, media, and I'm media now. So even though I still
want to be,
it's still even though I still pride myself as the fan in the stands, I am media now, and media loves to make things about themselves. I certainly do. And so I will say, just seeing Mitch out there, you said, it's crazy that it's been 9 years. Well, for me in this media journey that I've taken, it started with Mitch in his rookie year, and then in 2018, and kind of my vision for how I thought I could try to maneuver through. And little did I know at the time that a great company like CHGO was going to launch, and lucky for me that it did. But the early days of me trying to apply myself in this industry started with Mitch and Tariq Cohen and Eddie Jackson and Allen Robinson and Tanner Gentry and all those guys. And so to see him back here today, and then obviously what we're doing here at CHGO, I'm very proud of the work we do and all the fans that come up to us, and that's a culmination of everything that I've been going through here in my last 9 years of this journey. And so and that's obviously I was, like I said yesterday to you and John's, barking up your guys' tree, and I'm sure you guys didn't know quite what to make of this crazy bricklayer in a tank top running around with his phone at Bourbonnais, but here we are now, and now you have to, do shows with me and listen to me ramble on, and that's your fault.
Well, look, it is, but at least we got sleeves on now. We've made progress. Big. All right, let's get to super chats before we get out of here. And just a reminder, we're going to have Sunday's game completely covered wall to wall, as we always do. We'll have John Z at the game, Pat Norton at the game. Our pregame show will start at 6:00. Kickoff at 7, and a post-game show right afterwards. Numbers were huge last weekend, so we appreciate that, and we hope you'll be with us this Sunday night as well for this Bears-Bills game. Miguel, $5 super, says first time going to training camp today. Didn't get any autographs, but got to meet my guy Greg today. # brick by brick.
Appreciate you guys. And as I said, every person that came up to us at this whole training camp this year, it's only added motivation for us to continue to do better shows and do this as long as possible, because I know how much you guys appreciate it, and we can't thank you enough for the support you give to us.
Matt Bellick, $5. Which Bear would you want to DH for the Cubs?
Cole Kmet.
Cole Kmet.
Come on now. He could have gone pro as a baseball player, just so you all know. Antoine Randall. He was drafted by the Cubs.
He was drafted by the Cubs. It's true. Read John's story about that. It's mentioned in there. Buddy Dornbrock, $10. Maybe a dumb question. When watching the interviews, why do you guys always hear typing? Also, I've been listening every day for the past 2 years. So thank you, CHGO crew, for everything and always. FGB. I'm assuming that you're talking about the press conferences.
Yeah.
The mics that pick up our question also happen to pick up our typing.
Yeah, that's actually what you're hearing is John Greenberg has one of those old school typewriters, and every time and then it goes.
Hold that thought. We got to go to overtime, Greg. But I love that you're just going to bust toss John Greenberg.
I saw him. I was like, John Green. He turned around. He goes, "Oh, don't say it like that."
Oh, he loves you, I'm sure. For real, though, that's the answer. And it used to be way worse when Peggy Kaczynski was in there every day. That's right. Shots fired. I've said that to her many, many times. Khalid says $2. Who was the more physical team? I thought they were pretty equal today. Last week, I thought the Bears were way more physical than the Dolphins. I don't think it was the Bears not being physical today. I just think it was the Bills rising up to that challenge.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest physical moments, like you mentioned earlier, were those special teams gunner drills they were doing. There was a few fights that broke out on the defensive side of the ball. Not many for the Bears offense. So, yeah, that was it. Saw Nahshon Wright get into a little shoving match at one point. We really haven't talked too much about the defense today because I know we weren't on that side of the ball. But Nahshon Wright had an interception today. Tremaine Edmonds had an interception in the red zone. That's interceptions in both joint practices for Tremaine Edmonds, who I think has had a really, really strong training camp. Jaquan Brisker, if you listen to or you read Hoge, Johns, and Patrick Norton's write-up from practice today, Patrick highlights how Jaquan Brisker was all over the football field today. He's been another MVP of training camp this year and today as well, all over the football field, breaking up passes. At one point in one of those 2-minute drills, he gets a tackle at the line of scrimmage. So he's just everywhere. And so I thought the defense had a good showing. Josh Allen certainly got his today, and they had some touchdowns every time you'd look over from the offensive field. But I thought from a secondary standpoint, I don't know how the pass rush did today, but from a secondary standpoint, I thought they were battling, and that's without Jalen Johnson and Kyler Gordon. So that's 2 joint practices in a row without those guys. And I thought Nahshon Wright, Tyreek Stevenson, Jaquan Brisker, Kevin Byard, who had an interception today, I thought they're all holding their own without their 2 best players in their secondary.
All right, Bruce Johnson, $5. Theo Benedict has 32-inch arms, mediocre athleticism. I don't see how he can be a starter in the league. Bruce it would certainly be an upset, but that's why I think it'd be a good story too at the same time. So we'll have to see if he gets his opportunity Sunday night. Andrew Sullivan, $2. Bears are not unique having at least one offensive line hole. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
That's true. August, $5. When are we getting an official CHGO record prediction? Couple weeks.
Yeah, right before the season. Let's see how the roster, they got to do cuts. Maybe the Bears add some guys. So, but going back to that super chat, like, they aren't the only team with one offensive line issue. Yeah, we understand that. And I'm glad that, Ben Johnson isn't sugarcoating this. This is a problem. We need to address it. Doesn't mean it's an indictment on what their season can be. But I just like that Ben Johnson doesn't, duck the smoke. He's not afraid to say this is a problem. We're still addressing it.
Right. And look, the Chiefs were in the Super Bowl last year with the left tackle problem, and Joe Thuney had to go out there and play left tackle. Nobody here wants to see that, and Joe Thuney doesn't want to have to do that.
No.
But it's somewhere that's on the list of options if this continues the way it is. And that wasn't supposed to be the plan. So just keep that in mind. All right. Sang Ray, always positive.
6 offensive line battle for a tackle. We've now added Darnell Wright and Joe Thuney to the list.
Yeah. I see that all the time, by the way. They Lions use so many 6 offensive linemen. I was like, let's find number 5 first before we start talking about 6. Please. Stangray, $5. Cowturd, sad attempt to slander Caleb because he couldn't get into the Bears' ownership. Is pathetic. Sad Carmless days ongoing. We need him back.
Sangray Kim is just throwing me through a loop there. One, defending Caleb against the evil Cowturd, and then also, opining for Mark Carman to come out of the forest.
Right, with a bizarre Bears ownership conspiracy theory that I saw on Twitter the other day too. Throw it in there too. Another $5 Stang Ray. Appreciate you, Braggs, for your coverage all training camp this year. Now call Carm and bring him back so we can continue our TB17 QB1 agenda. And $5 from Peanut Punch 33. How has Amagaji, or whatever his name is, looked with the threes? That's the other part of this too. That's also bizarre. The Karan Amagaji is just like out. I mean, he's in the competition, but he's really not in the competition this week. So I guess it tells you what you need to know there, Peanut Punch.
That's what I mean. They whittled down the left tackle competition and they kicked out Ozzy Trubisky and Karan Amagaji. And then they were basically like, here you go, Braxton. And then Braxton has just proceeded to fall over himself on that handing of the job. And now in comes the Canadian Eagle wearing his thong, at the left tackle spot. It's wild. None of us anticipated this. So it's just, we're all kind of along for this ride with you guys. We'll find out Sunday night. It's going to be fascinating.
According to Gary, who's doing, I told him to track the snaps. He said Karan got 5 snaps today.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's just 5 total. Like that's because he's with the threes. One thing we should have mentioned earlier too, Case Keenum has a leg injury.
Yes.
And did not practice, so I might settle the backup quarterback spot. All right. We got to go. Pre-game, 6 o'clock Sunday. Thank you to Emma Clark producing. Appreciate everybody being here. Hit that like button. Please subscribe. We'll talk to you Sunday night. Pre and post Bears Bills. We'll talk to you then.
We all silly like the mayor.